I'm Kathy Hasbrook, the president of the board of directors of the Women's Resource Center to End Domestic Violence. I'm here to welcome you to our 20th annual Champions for Change fundraiser. When we held our first virtual event in 2020, I don't think any of us imagined we would be back on your screen 2 years later. But thanks to the technology we've all gotten used to over the last 2 years, we are pleased we could continue to offer a virtual option to ensure that anyone in our community who is interested in our work can join us. We are so grateful that you've chosen to share your evening with us. Champions for Change is a chance for viewers like you who care about supporting survivors to join Women's Resource Center in our mission to end violence against women. Despite the pandemic and the many challenges our community has faced over the past few years, Women's Resource Center is still going strong. In fact, because of the pandemic, we are serving more survivors than ever, and we could not do it without the support of our generous donors and sponsors. It is my honor as board president to thank you for standing by us and making sure our doors are always open for the women, children, and other survivors who need us. Even though many of our guests are gathering in person, we've made it a priority for our at-home guests to be able to participate in every aspect of our event. For our VIPs at home, we hope you love your VIP boxes. Over the next few minutes, we'll share some ways that you can participate in our event from home. The program will begin at 7 p.m. Thank you again for your support of our work and the mission to end violence against women. Now let's start the show.
How to bid with GiveSmart. In order to get started, you will need to register with GiveSmart. You'll be asked to provide your name, cell phone, and you may have the option to pre-swipe a credit card in order to expedite checkout. Once you have registered, you will receive a welcome text message which includes your personal bidding link. Be sure not to share this link with anyone else, as it is directly tied to your account. Once you've registered, you will receive a text message with a blue link. Select the blue link to be directed to the items page of the auction site. You can view items by category or search for items directly. Select any item of interest to view the item's full description, as well as the current bid and/or price. The system will auto-populate a bid amount based on the designated increment for all auction items. Select Bid to place bid at this amount or enter an alternate amount that is larger than the auto-populated bid amount, and then select Bid. If your bid is accepted, a box will appear congratulating you as the leading bidder. If your bid is not accepted, a box will appear stating the minimum amount required in order to place the leading bid. You also have the option to place an auto bid. An auto bid enables the system to automatically bid up to a designated amount for you. The system will bid incrementally up to this amount as long as someone bids against you. If no one bids against your auto bid, the current price will remain. To place an auto bid, select the Auto Bid tab and enter the max amount you wish to bid, and then select Bid. If you are outbid at any time during the auction, you will receive a text message notification. A banner will also appear across each item that you bid on to indicate whether you are winning or losing the item. Now, you are ready to bid.
Hi, I'm Natasha Trethewey, and my new book is Memorial Drive. This is an excerpt. 3 weeks after my mother is dead, I dream of her. We walk a rutted path, an oval track around which we are making our slow revolution. Side by side, so close our shoulders nearly touch, neither of us speaking, both of us in our traces. Though I know she is dead, I have a sense of contentment, as if she's only gone someplace else to which I've journeyed to meet her.
Hello, hello. Can I have most people's attention? I know, I need something. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. This is our 20th annual Champions for Change event, and we are so grateful you are here with us tonight. My name is Tamika Phillips, and I am the fundraising chair for this event, so get your wallets and your purses ready.
So this is okay. And I am Joy White, and I am a Women's Resource Center board member. I'm also the chair of tonight's event. We are honoring the work done by the Women's Resource Center and exploring ways that we as a community can support their mission to end domestic violence. And as you are aware, this is a fundraiser.
That's right. This important work is not free, you all. We serve women and children who have unfortunately experienced domestic violence. We provide housing, we provide summer camp, and we provide legal resources, as many of you know, and none of those things is free.
And I want you to take a look around this room right now. There's about 300 people roughly here, mostly women, although we are very grateful for all of our male allies joining us. The CDC estimates that 1 in 4 women in the state of Georgia has experienced abuse by an intimate partner. I am one of those women, and I am very happy that I can stand on this stage and call myself a survivor.
I am also one of those women, and I am grateful to call myself a survivor. But the hardest thing I'll probably talk about this evening is my friend Courtney Cox, who many of you knew, and she unfortunately did not survive. She was murdered at the hands of her boyfriend just a few months ago in October. Courtney was my colleague at Paul Hastings, but very quickly she became my work bestie. We had amazing times together. We remained friends even after I left the firm. She was not only incredibly smart, she traveled the world. She had a passion for life, and she attended this very event with me for multiple years. And she should be here tonight. And I stand here to honor her memory and the memory of all of those we've lost to domestic violence.
And in the name of victims and survivors of domestic violence everywhere, I hope you will dig deep into your wallets tonight to show everyone in this room how much safety for families means to you. During tonight's program, you'll hear from Najla, Tamara, and of course, Natasha. And after that, I guarantee you will never doubt the importance of the work that the Women's Resource Center does.
This is going to be a heavy night, but we also have a lot to celebrate. We are all here in this room. We are together in person for the first time in a very long time.
Yes.
And we want to take a moment to thank all of our corporate sponsors, as well as many of you, all of our friends who are here to support us tonight, and those who are attending virtually, and those who have already made donations.
So at the advocate level, we want to thank Georgia Pacific, Southwire, and UPS.
At the ally level, we would like to thank King & Spalding, PwC, Southern Company, and the Home Depot.
At the supporter level, we would like to thank Ann Dice, Enid and Jerry Drayluck, Nelson Mullins, Riley and Scarborough, Oglethorpe Power Corporation, Tamika Phillips and Roger Mitchell, Virginia and Will Reese, Pat Robinson, Seyfarth Shaw, Linda and David Spencer, and Troutman Pepper.
That's right.
That's right.
At the believer level, we would like to thank DLA Piper, Zoe Hicks, and Encouragement Unlimited, Elizabeth Finn Johnson, hi Elizabeth, Alice Gamble, Greenberg Trarig, Hasbrook Consulting, Representative Scott Holcomb, Congressman Hank Johnson, Joan Stay, Paige Coleman and Dorsey Austin Realtors, Jennifer Manning, McDermott, Will and Emery, Northside Hospital, Senator Elena Parent and Briley Brizendine, the Petway family, Julie Reeves, Alyssa and Todd Warren, my friend Joy White, and Will Pert.
We would also like to extend a few additional thank yous. First, thank you to our host committee, whose names are listed in your program. I would also like to thank Enid Drayluck, our forever friend and auction chair. We could not have put this event on without you.
Thank you, Enid. We would also like to thank the generous individuals who made donations to our auction. They are also listed in the program along with our beverage sponsors. And we want to thank again those of you joining us from home. And a special thanks to Miss Barb, who is Courtney's mother and also joining from home.
Finally, I would like to recognize my fellow Women's Resource Center board members. Will the board please stand?
Okay, let's get this program started. Great.
Yes. That's right.
Yes. New York Times best-selling Pulitzer Prize-winning author Natasha Trethewey wrote, "To survive trauma, one must be able to tell a story about it." Join me now to hear Najala's story.
My name is Najala Lewis. I have a great life, 2 beautiful children, a great husband, remarried. You know, we have a house and a car, and we're always working hard to make our situation better and make life better for our kids so they don't have to struggle like how we had to. So we always just trying to push ahead. You know, my husband has his own business. I'm working to have, you know, a great career. I was in a very dangerous relationship with my children's dad, with my son's dad. And at the time, I just had my son. And it was a relationship that it started off great, right? It started off so great, actually. Like, he was so proud of me. Everywhere we went, he would be saying, this is my girl. Look how beautiful she is. And she a college girl. And they'd be like, oh, you're a college girl. And I got pregnant very quickly. But that's something that I wanted to do. We both wanted to have a child. And as soon as I got pregnant, that's when things started to change. Like, I couldn't do things right. He wanted to change how I dressed. Like, everything was... So it started out with, like, emotional and verbal stuff. And I just felt like I was doing something wrong. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, why is he doing this? And then it started with, which I didn't realize was physical stuff. So they just progressively got worse. They got worse. And it felt bad. Even like with the stalking at first. Because I wouldn't break up with him when I was pregnant. And he would just keep calling me and stuff like that. And so I would eventually get back with him because I'm like, this guy must really, really love me. He's saying he really wants this baby and different things, even though I felt like it was bad. But then it got real dangerous real quick. So when I came down here, I came like in a height of everything, of just 1 minute, I meet this guy, I'm in love. Having a baby, you know, best times of my life. It's supposed to be the best experience. So I'm in the hospital room alone, having a C-section and scared because this dude is threatening me, stealing my money and doing different things. And then it escalated to the point where now my life is being threatened. That was like in a matter of a year. I was working with the ADA and then also an advocate out of the Brooklyn Justice Center. And they helped me be able to relocate because they felt that was the best thing for me to be safe. So I had an advocate that really worked with me at the time. And thankfully, the Women's Resource Center had a bed available and allowed me and Noble to come down. This is nothing like I thought it would be, you know? Like the TV and the couch and the way it was set up and just how nice everybody was and smiling at me. Getting to know those women, even though some of the stories were just so sad and tragic. And I don't know what happened to almost all of them. The time that we was there, that bond that we had and laying up in each other's beds talking all night and the little kids playing and hearing them laughing in the hallways, you know, like it felt good. I was able to go into transitional housing. And one of those times when I went back to my batterer was then. I had gotten back with him, had my daughter, so now I have 2 children, 2 babies, basically. Just the thought of it, I was just like, I just can't. And I was really depressed. I was actually suicidal. And part of the reason why I had my daughter, even though people were telling me, you shouldn't have her, you have 2 children, you know, and it's hard enough with one, is because I thought he was gonna kill me. I wanted my son to have somebody. I didn't want him to be in the world alone. Actually, I left him for the first time 16 years ago, but left him finally, no contact whatsoever, was 12 years ago. I still am afraid, you know? And like when I tell people I want to leave, like I want to leave the country and I want to move someplace else, they don't get it. Because I'm like, what if he tries to come around and contact my son? Like, would he be safe? Would I be safe? You know, it's not like it's over. It's not going to be over till he's gone. So I kind of feel like I have like this scar that people can't see. That's always going to be with me no matter what, you know? So even though like I have this really great life and, you know, I'm very, very grateful, I think there's a part of me that's always going to just be sad. Like just this part of me, no matter what, like, you know what I mean? I could be having the greatest moment in the world and then I might have like a little memory or something in the back of my mind. And I'm just like, will I ever just be, not say at peace with it, but will I ever just feel like, I don't know, like whole? Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, will I ever get back what I feel like he took?
Hello. And let's see, Najla, are you here? We shouldn't make it, okay. Well, I do still want to say thank you, Najla, for your honesty, for your vulnerability, for telling your story in your way, and for reminding us that surviving domestic violence isn't neat or perfect. It's a process. And so, yes, something is lost, a million somethings are lost, even in the survival. And learning to live on the forever shifted ground is lifelong work. And we're with you. So much of that lifelong work comes with excavation, mining memories, just trying to understand or make some kind of sense of it all. And stories, language, those are the miner's tools. And they are certainly Natasha's tools. Natasha uses language as both a magnifier and a mirror, showing and telling of the scars of loss, of living with racism, othering, and holding grief. Natasha Trethewey is currently the Board of Trustees Professor of English at Northwestern University. Her work includes the prize-winning collections Domestic Work in 2000, Native Guard in 2007, and Thrall in 2012. She was named the 2008 Georgia Woman of the Year, and Natasha has been inducted into both the Fellowship of Southern Writers and the Georgia Writers Hall of Fame. She served as the 19th U.S. Poet Laureate from 2012 to 2014. Natasha has earned a long list of honors, awards, and praise, all deserved. But I'm guessing that among the biggest honors is being called Gwendolyn Ann Turnbough's daughter. Too often, when your life is lost to domestic violence, that becomes your whole story. But Gwen was not a victim. She was a mother and so much more. In her 2020 memoir, Memorial Drive, Natasha reclaims her mother's life from the one-dimensional headlines. Natasha shares that her mother was graceful and reserved, and she was beautiful too. She had a really lovely lime green jumpsuit, and she was deeply loved by her own mother, Natasha's grandmother. Natasha's mother, Gwen, loved to read and to dance. She was determined and she was smart, having figured out how to navigate the hostile world she was born into as a Black person in 1944, and later earning a master's degree in social work. Gwen could be private with her thoughts and feelings, and I gather from a sentence in the book that, like me, she didn't have a good sense of direction. She was ambitious. She loved music and touring grand houses. Her closet of clothes sewn by her own hands using Vogue and Butterick patterns carried the sense of wool and lavender. Gwen was loved. Gwen is missed. And I'm happy to introduce her daughter, Natasha. Thank you for introducing Gwen, your mother, the person, to us. We hope that our work honors her as she deserves. So I'm proud to introduce Natasha Trethewey. So can everyone hear me okay? All right. So I have some notes on my phone of questions that I'd like to share, if that's okay. As soon as I get to it. So my page seems to have gone away from me. How are you doing? Welcome.
Thank you. That was a lovely introduction.
Oh, I'm glad to do it. And I'm so glad that you're here. And, just like we talked about, surviving is a process. It's not perfect. And so we're just going to go as fast or as slow as we need to. And I will ask questions, and if it's okay to answer, yes. If it's not okay, that's okay too. Okay. So my first question comes from page 49 of the book. There's a passage where you say, "It took me a long time to realize how fully I had accepted my parents' narrative of the situation. For most of my life, I have told myself that this separation didn't trouble me." And so I'm wondering, many of us live with a personal narrative that has been given to us. What are some ways we can begin to mine our own experiences for the real story? And what can you share about your own experience of exploring and being with the real story?
Thank you for that question, Barbara. You know, one of the things that I have to say about that, the story that my parents gave me when they divorced when I was a small child included things like, you have the best of both worlds. you will be able to go to 2 different homes where 2 sets of people love you. And that was true. So the story that they were giving me was not an untrue story. And I could take that story and incorporate it into my own story about myself and how I felt about my parents no longer being together. And that was important, to be able to take the pieces of one's memory or the stories that you've been given to make your own story about it. But as you say, there are other kinds of stories that we are given about ourselves that are not useful. I was born in Mississippi in 1966 on Confederate Memorial Day when it was still illegal for my parents to be married. I was rendered in the eyes of the law illegitimate, persona non grata. So the state of Mississippi and at least 20 other states in the nation didn't think that I deserved to be a legitimate citizen and that my parents deserved to be legitimately married. They were telling me a story about who I was in the United States and what I could expect about my place in the United States as a black person, as a mixed-race black person. Confederate monuments do that all the time. They tell us who we are supposed to be and what our place is in the world. Those are the kinds of narratives and received knowledge that we have to push back against. So at once, I am both pushing back against that, but I am also incorporating the pieces of the story, the loving story my parents gave me, in order to shape a narrative of myself. One in which I am in control, one in which I write the story. I like to think about it. If you look up and you look at these lights, it reminds me of a metaphor I use all the time about the constellations of stars. There was that moment when the ancients looked up in the stars and at the stars in the sky, and they saw thousands of stars. And yet they chose to draw very specific constellations, which began to tell a particular story that they could address and explain their own situation when they looked up in the sky. But they could have told countless others by countlessly drawing those lines. I have drawn the lines of the story that I need to tell and not allowing someone else to draw it for me.
Thank you. So many people need to hear that. We have to be able to tell our own stories. So thank you. So
one of the quickest ways you might notice for me to rewrite a little bit of the narrative here when I'm weeping because I feel like my mother's name is being invoked and who she was, and I want to stop crying, let me just talk about the Confederacy. And you see it's not happening anymore. Now, it may come back, but right now I'm okay.
Yeah. I so appreciate you saying that because that's exactly right. It's not as if you survive domestic violence and then there's never, ever going to be sadness, you know. Yeah, it will be there, and that's okay. And there's also strength. There's also joy. Yeah, so... So there's a part in the book where you say, last night I heard my stepfather hit my mother. And the teacher, Mrs. Messick, says, sometimes adults get angry with each other. And I wanted to bring out this point in particular because so many of us have that very same exchange with people who are also experiencing domestic violence, and we gloss over it, we make excuses, and we don't realize the impact that it has on that person, that these interactions shape people's experiences, their values. They may determine whether they will ask for help again or not. Mm-hmm. And so we're always learning from each other, and we're creating and reinforcing cultural norms and values, as well as our sense of self in these daily interactions. So I'm guessing that your feelings included frustration and powerlessness. But was there something more or something else when you were listening to her response? And how do you think about that experience now? Was there something that you wish she could have said or done differently?
Yeah, I think in that moment, and I write this, that I knew that there was nothing that she was going to do. And it was a moment of feeling very isolated in the situation that I was experiencing at home, the situation that my mother was in. Because I indeed had gone to the person outside of the home that I felt the closest to. I mean, now, I'm a university professor, and we have training every year and all sorts of protocols about how we are supposed to deal with someone who comes and tells us about something like that. But back then, that didn't exist. She was kind, but she also did brush it off. And so I felt at that moment that I had nowhere else to turn, that if anything was going to happen, I had to do it myself. What I think that
as a child.
I was a child. I was. And so, I went home that night, and I waited until my mother was alone. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, and I was standing right in front of her. And so because she was sitting and I was standing, I was a little taller than her at that moment. And I said to her, "Mommy, do you know how when someone you love is hurting, it hurts you too?" And I tried to get through saying the whole thing before I looked directly into her eyes. And she knew at that moment that I knew. And later on that night, I heard her telling him, "Tasha knows." And I know that she was telling him because she thought that maybe if he knew that I knew, that might make it stop. Well, it didn't. But it was a moment of feeling like I had nowhere to turn and I had to do something about it, which is why organizations like this are so important, so that the women know they have somewhere to go. But I think if there's a way that also children know that there's someone who will listen and do something.
You deserved that. Yeah. And I'm glad that we're here now to make that happen. Thank you. So there's a part on page 17 where you use the language coming of age to describe your mom's growing up, and you use the language growing up to describe your dad's growing up. And I'm wondering if these different ways of describing their growing up, if you're wanting to convey something to us about the differences in their path from childhood to adulthood. I mean, obviously there were vast differences.
I think that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that, and I hadn't actually thought consciously about what the difference means. But in that passage that you're describing, I actually say, my mother came of age a black girl in the Deep South, in the Jim Crow South, in a world circumscribed by Jim Crow. She was coming of age and coming into an age of Jim Crow, an age in which, again, the expectations of her citizenship and her humanity in a place like Mississippi was deeply limited in the ways that my white father, growing up a white boy in rural Nova Scotia, free to roam the open woods, free to be a man, and a white man, was very different. So yes, their growing up and coming of age were very different.
Yeah, thank you. This is one of my favorite pieces. On page 113, your mom says, "She will do whatever she wants."
She will do whatever she wants.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And you say, even now I hear my mother's voice, her measured restraint, the origins of my own. I love this validation. It's so powerful. And I want to know, there's probably a million things you could say about this, but how do you experience this memory now, and how does this affirmation live in you now?
Well, that was such a pivotal moment. It's a chapter in which I'm describing coming home from school, from high school, being very excited about what I'm reading in my English class, what I'm writing, that I've written a short story, I've joined the literary society. I'm very excited about all of these things, and usually, in order to avoid the wrath of his jealous anger, I would keep these things to myself until I could see my mother alone to tell her. But I'm so excited this night that I can't, and so I blurted out at the table, and he says to me, "You're not going to do any of that." And that's the moment that my mother says she will do whatever she wants. Because as much as she was trying to contend with his attempts to destroy herself, she was not going to allow him to destroy me. And the cost was what he was going to do to her later on that night. And I knew what was going to happen to her. And I think that her act of courage, her defiance, in order to save me, is part of what she gave me, part of the resilience she gave me. But also, I am a poet. And because I am a poet, I am so interested in the power of words. The words we say, as well as the ones that we hold back. The way we use silence and white space that sometimes speaks louder than anything else. And poetry, language, as necessary utterance. That was the most necessary thing my mother could say right then. She could be restrained until she absolutely had to say in order to change the course of the world for me.
I'm glad for that path. So you also say, I would have had to become a writer. I would have to become a writer. That because of the nature of my experience, I would have something necessary to say. And still there is more, because the loss is not singular and cannot be fully articulated. And so what are some of the things that made your mom uniquely herself? And so I know that she loved music, and she loved to dance when she felt free. And I'm wondering if there are smells or sounds or foods that return her to you, or maybe one of your favorite stories about Gwen.
Oh. I think that's the hardest question in some ways because, one writes a book in order to try to convey something about who she was. I could have spent, when I first set out to write Memorial Drive, I could have spent the rest of my life working on it, because what I wanted to do initially was to research my mother as I might research any historical figure, and to write a biography, because I really wanted the world to know who she was. But it became increasingly clear to me that whereas I could spend forever doing that, the best way to show who she was to write a memoir about who I became in the light of her life and her death. It's why I use the epigraph from Shakespeare's Sonnet Number 3. Thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee calls back the lovely April of her prime. If you want to know anything about the woman my mother was, just look at me.
We see you. So, the last thing I'll say, in addition to we do see you, and we hope that we honor you and your mother each day with our work, and just remembering that, you know, working with survivors, the loss is not singular. So there are so many different things that you do miss about a person that it could be millions of things, like their smile or a secret joke that you shared. And so we do recognize that. And we do want you to know how glad we are to walk with survivors in your mom's name.
Thank you.
Yeah. What has it meant to know that the Women's Resource Center is here?
Well, it goes back to that feeling of isolation, of thinking that there's no one out there who understands what it is you're going through. And yet there is a place, and there are some people, and they do know. And there is a place for you to go. If you need people who will understand and not judge and to help you find a path forward.
We are definitely trying. Thank you so much, Natasha.
Thank you.
So, can we prevail upon you to read a bit from your book?
Yes, this will make me stop crying because art does that. This is a poem that is the first poem in my retrospective monument, Poems New and Selected. When I wrote this book, I was writing it at the same time I was writing the memoir, and I wanted to show the arc of my career and why it is I became a writer in the first place, the thing that ultimately hurt me into poetry. And it's a poem that is a response to all of the kinds of things, I'm sure so many of you have heard them, that people say to or about victims of domestic violence. Imperatives for carrying on in the aftermath. Do not hang your head or clench your fists when even your friend, after hearing the story, says, "My mother would never put up with that." Fight the urge to rattle off statistics that, more often, a woman who chooses to leave is then murdered. The 100th time your father says, "But she hated violence. Why would she marry a guy like that?" Don't waste your breath explaining again how abusers wait, are patient, that they don't beat you on the first date, sometimes not even the first few years of a marriage. Keep an impassive face whenever you hear "stand by your man," and let go your rage when you recall those words were advice given your mother. Try to forget the first trial before she was dead, when the charge was only attempted murder. Don't belabor the thinking or the sentence that allowed her ex-husband's release a year later, or the juror who said, it's a domestic issue, they should work it out themselves. Just breathe when, after you read your poems about grief, a woman asks, do you think your mother was weak for men? Learn to ignore subtext. Imagine a thought cloud above your head, dark and heavy, with the words you cannot say. Let silence rain down. Remember you were told by your famous professor that you should write about something else. Unburden yourself of the death of your mother and just pour your heart out in the poems. Ask yourself what's in your heart, that reliquary, blood locket and seed bed, and contend with what it means. The folk saying you learned from a Korean poet in Seoul, that one does not bury the mother's body in the ground, but in the chest. Or, like you carry her corpse on your back.
Thank you.
Thank you. You could tell I was angry when I wrote that.
And sometimes there's power in anger, right? So it's been my great pleasure to talk with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all.
I know. Well, Natasha, it is such an honor and privilege to have you here tonight. Yes, it is. For those of us who've had the privilege of reading Memorial Drive, I mean, to hear you tell your story in person is just so impactful. So thank you for sharing with us. We at the Women's Resource Center are honored to continue this work serving victims of domestic violence in the memory of your mother. So it's a real privilege. And I hope that you know that we are going to carry on this work as part of her legacy. So thank you. It is my distinct honor and privilege tonight to present you with the Women's Resource Center Clarence Seeliger Champion for Change Award for 2022.
Well, you don't need to hear too much more from me, but I do just want to say what a great honor this is for me. To stand in a place that recognizes my mother's legacy. My friend Jean Douglas told me the story when I first met her, that the center was started after this woman was murdered in 1985. And for a long time, they didn't know who it was. And then they finally figured out that it was my mother. And of course, plenty of other women have lost their lives. And what I hope is that my mother's story can serve as a kind of clarion call and a beacon for the ongoing change that we have to make. It's hard not to weep at a moment like this, when I know that at least for a few minutes, all of you have thought about Gwendolyn Ann Turnbough. And that means the world to me. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So, yeah, I'm just going to kind of do what feels right. We were kind of flipped the script when we were going to go into an auction. But I kind of want to take a moment, if you don't mind, and kind of stick with what we were going to do originally. So, Tanner, I promise it'll be okay. Tanner's like, but I'm here to raise money. I was like, I know. All right. So here's the way we're going to do this. There's a short video, and then I have some remarks, and then we will raise some paddles and raise some money. How about that? You promise to stay? All right. If I had bottles to pass around, I would. But we'll do the video, and then I'll be right back.
My name is Tamara Waller. I always tell people that when you become a mother, a lot of things change. Things that you say that you would never do, you find yourself doing because you want to make sure that your children are safe and they have the best of everything. And I remember going through it with my son's father. The biggest thing was my child, and having the fear that because he didn't want my child, that maybe one day he would actually do something to hurt my child. And that was the biggest thing for me, just feeling that he would hurt my child. I really had to one night just take a hard look at things and do something that was very, very hard for me to do, and that was ask for help. All I knew was I was coming to a shelter. So all I thought about was a shelter, you know, from what people see on TV. But it was so much different. It felt like a home. Asher had a little friend there, and the both of them were just a couple of months apart. So, you know, they're crawling around on the floor together. You know, they were each other's buddy, you know, so they both turned 1 year old there, you know, so they had milestones together. And even to this day, you know, they're still connected to each other because of the care, the safety, and just the genuine feeling of family there. It made it feel like home for him. Even after I'd left there and I was in my own place, Tess connected with me, and again, connected with me at a time that was so crucial for me that I didn't even know that I needed. It was just like another godsend, working with me on budgeting, you know, and allowing me to be vulnerable with my finances. Although I was in the financial services industry for a profession, there were still things that I needed help with, just coming through what I had gone through. And she really, helped me sit down, look at my budget, work through things and work through my finances. Domestic violence isn't just about physical abuse, but it is just as much emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and financial abuse, those things that I was going through that oftentimes are the precursor to physical abuse that a lot of people overlook, and they just don't think that those things are abuse, so they don't reach out for help, and thankfully, I actually reached out to help when I didn't even know that that was the help that I needed, and that was the help that saved me.
You see me get up here with these heels on the steps? I hold my breath when I do that. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be honest, it takes a lot for me to take off my New Balance and my workout gear and actually get dressed, but you all look beautiful and lovely. So thank you so much for coming and joining us here tonight. So here's the thing, when we ask women to share their stories so we can share their stories with you on these videos, it's a tough ask. And so when they give us what they have, then I feel there's a serious obligation to share it and to use it. But I was a bit concerned with the stories that we were sharing this year because they're hard stories. They're just really hard. And it's like, well, how will people feel? It's like, will they feel like donating? Like, if you still hear that things are hard, then it's like, will it seem as if we're doing a good job? If we aren't like creating miracles. So thank you for letting us share the stories because they're so real, they're so raw, and so necessary. So it feels important to share what isn't always obvious or talked about at events like this, where we're supposed to celebrate success, talk about how together we have helped make bad situations better. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a kind of success in rebuilding from domestic violence, but it isn't tidy or absolute. Domestic violence changes lives in immeasurable ways, some visible, others less so. And survivors feel the myriad shifts and changes sharply. Better sometimes is bittersweet. Friends and family and myself, and even maybe some of you may wonder why they can't just get over it, move on, be okay, be glad to be alive. But here's the thing, they are. And they're also not over it, not always able to stop looking over their shoulders, not okay, and sometimes sad to not be alive in the way they used to be. We don't talk about that enough. Sometimes we don't talk about it at all. But to fully honor survivors' experiences, we have to talk about all of it. What happens next is not always a neatly packaged story of triumph or overcoming. There is loss, mourning, and sometimes fear mixed in with gratitude. Surviving domestic violence often means learning new ways of being in relationship with yourself and to your world. It is learning how to make enough space for the roller coaster of feelings inside and to live without answers to questions that won't stop. Chief among them, why? How could this have happened? How could this have happened to me? Survival, like grief, isn't linear, nor is it time limited. It's ongoing, it's tender. Some days it demands everything. There is no ease, only bracing, often sleeplessness, and worry about trusting joy. Some days feel almost normal, life vaguely familiar, and its refashioned form goes on. Surviving isn't the end, it is the beginning of next, a new, sometimes bumpy path. But we like to imagine that getting through domestic violence is the same as getting over it, and it isn't. Maybe getting over it never happens, but going forward with it does. The Women's Resource Center goes forward with survivors. Wherever they are on the path, the Women's Resource Center is there too. Our work, our walk with survivors is made possible by your support. When they call to explore resources or are angry, afraid, and full of despair at 6 p.m. or 2 in the morning, we're there in part because of you. When they make dinner or tuck their kids into beds in their new homes, it is in part because of you. And when they drive to work, you are there too, cheering them on with support that makes gas, a needed repair, rental payment, car payment possible. So thank you so much for being here with us this evening and listening to the struggle in very real, raw terms. We appreciate you being here. I just have a couple of thank yous. This is my last time here today, up here. Enid Drayluck, the hostess with the mostest, our auction chair, is always here. Thank you so much. To Amber Harris, our Director of Development, who put her heart and soul into each and every single minutia detail. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to Joy and Tamika. Tamika has been on the board for 9 years. She's rolling off. I was like, hey, before you go, I got something for you. And she said yes, so easily. Thank you. And thank you, Joy. To our board of directors, Kathy Hasbrook, you rock. Thank you. She's in it. I appreciate your loyalty and your support. And to the incredible, incredible people that I work with each and every single day. I don't know people with bigger hearts than these folks. I feel like, how did I end up with you all? But thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do. Yes. So, you know, when we figured out our connection with Natasha, it's like, how do I do this? Like, what do you say? Hey, we're here. I know you didn't know this, but, you know, I found someone that knew her to kind of pave the way and sent her an email, and then out of the blue, she responded, can I come, like right now? I said yes. And the first meeting was hard. She said, I know what you're trying to say here, but you're not getting the story right. I was like, well, share the story. And she did. And what I didn't know is that she would become my friend. And so I'm so grateful to my friend who has lent her support and her voice to our work. We're together for life. It's kind of like when you find those relatives you didn't know you had. That's what she's like. So thank you so much. And are y'all ready? I know, it's like, all right, let's do it.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing this evening? I tell you what, we have heard some powerful, powerful words already this evening. And I'm so glad that we changed the event around and are doing it the way we're doing it, because I truly feel like right now we're fixing to do the single most important thing we're going to do in this room all night. And we're going to enter into our paddle raise portion of the evening. So what we're going to do here tonight is we have some very, very specific giving levels that we're going to go through. And simply what we're going to do is when I get to a giving level that you feel most comfortable with, I simply want you to slip your card up in the air. That's all I'm going to have you do. And when I get to each level tonight, I'm going to read a few things off. And I'm going to read you a few things to what, at each giving level, if you were to make a donation at that level, where your money's going to go and what it can do and the impact that it can have. So before we get started tonight, though, I want to leave you with something. There's 3 things you can do with your money. One is you can spend it, what we're about to do here in the live auction here in just a minute. The second thing is you can save it. And the third thing is you can invest it. And right here in Atlanta, Georgia tonight, I can't think of any better place to invest your money than the incredible work that we're doing at the Women's Resource Center. So my goal here tonight is for each one of you to leave here invested. You're here because you believe in what we're doing. That's why you're here. So ladies and gentlemen, our first giving level tonight is the $5,000 giving level. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what this giving level and the impact that it can make. 1 in 3 women in Georgia have been abused by an intimate partner. Your $5,000 will provide a 3-week stay, ladies and gentlemen, for a family in our safe house where they can be safe and secure while planning for their future. So we're telling you right now the impact your money's going to make. So I'm looking for the first person here tonight that wants to be right back here. Let's give her a round of applause. Bidder 528 gives $5,000. Is there anybody else here tonight? $5,000. Right here, bidder number 487. Give her a round of applause. Is there anybody else? Right here, 310. Thank you so much. Gives $5,000. Is there anyone else, ladies and gentlemen? We got 3. I'd love to get one more. I'd love to raise $20,000 kicking us off. Is there anybody else here tonight that would step up at the $5,000 level and give $5,000? We can raise $20,000. Anybody else here tonight? I don't want to miss you. Anybody else? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause. We just started out in amazing fashion. We just raised $15,000. Absolutely incredible. Our next giving level here tonight is $2,500. Now, what your $2,500 donation can do is domestic violence victims are the highest risk being killed after leaving their abuser. Your $2,500 here tonight will provide an entire year of safe visits for a family at Nia's place. Our supervised visitation center. Parents are kept apart at Nia's place, preventing from harassment, harming, or even killing their former partner. So ladies and gentlemen, right there, you know exactly where your money is going to go, what it's going to do, the impact that it's going to make. Who's going to be my first $2,500 donor here tonight? $2,500, just simply right up front. Thank you so much. $499 gives $2,500. Is there anybody else here tonight? $2,500. $2,500. Right here, man. What's your bidder number? I love it. She said, I don't know what my bidder number is, but I'm going to give $2,500. Right down front. We'll get with you here in just a minute. Right here, 634 gives $2,500. Is there anybody else here tonight? That's $7,500. Right here, bidder number 113. Thank you so much. Gives $2,500. Is there anybody else here tonight? Is there anybody else? I'd love to get one more. I'm from Mayfield, Kentucky. I've heard crickets before. I'm not afraid to ask. I'd love to get one more at the $2,500 level. Is there anybody else here tonight? $2,500. Maybe you were going to give it the $1,000 level, but you're going to step up here tonight and help us. Is there anybody else? $2,500 before I round it out. Anybody else here tonight? Well, let's give a big round of applause. We just raised another $10,000 here tonight. Absolutely incredible. Incredible. Well, this next giving level, I travel across the country doing this for a living, and this is my favorite level. It's the $1,000 level. And this is a level that it means a lot to me anytime I'm on stage because I've seen where it's made a huge impact on organizations, and I feel like we're going to do that here tonight at the $1,000 level. But before we do that, I want to tell you what your $1,000 donation can help us do. Nearly 312,000 Georgians are stalked each year, most as part of an abusive relationship. Your $1,000 donation here tonight will provide legal advocacy for 1 day for everyone filling a domestic violence or stalking protective order in DeKalb County. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard right there what it's going to do. You've heard 312,000 people in Georgia each year. Who wants to be my first $1,000 donation? Look at this. Let's give them a round of applause. Bidder 587. Bidder 699. Bidder 157. Bidder 238. All give $1,000. Looky here. Bidder number 280. Bidder number 212. Bidder number 243. Bidder number 451. Keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. Bidder number 494. Bidder number 670. All give $1,000 here tonight. Is there anybody else? I don't want to miss anybody. Anybody else? $1,000 here tonight. $1,000. We'll give them another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I told you we were going to make up some ground there, and we did. We've got just 3 giving levels left, and we're going to move into our live auction portion of the evening. Our next giving level is the $500 giving level. At $500, domestic violence is the leading cause of homelessness among women and children. Your $500 will provide 3 days coverage for our 24-hour crisis line. A crisis line advocate is always available for a safety plan, discuss options, and help DV survivors find a safe place to stay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this one means a lot to me because you heard right in there it's affecting children. And as a father, anytime you throw the word children in there, it just means something more to me. So you hear right here, your $500 donation is not only helping these women, but it's also helping their children. So when you're giving tonight at this level, I want you to know you're helping more than one person. So who wants to be my first $500 donation here tonight? Bidder numbers, looky here. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. I love it when I got to get off stage. Bidder number 334. Bidder number 602. Bidder number 615. Bidder number 449. Bidder number 235. Keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. Bidder number 445. Bidder number 657. Bidder number 455. Bidder number 208. This middle section showing out here tonight. Bidder number 408. Bidder number 530. Bidder number 135. Bidder number 651. Bidder number 457. Bidder number 189. This far section, y'all got some ground to make up over here. Bidder number 207. Bidder number 303. All right, here we go, outside section. Let's do it. Bidder number 462. Bidder number 236. Bidder number 496. Bidder number 348. Bidder number 512. Bidder number 636. Bidder number 543. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise in here tonight. Man. Now, I am professionally trained. Is there anyone else here tonight? I don't want to miss anybody. Anybody else at the $500 level? Well, I think that does deserve one more round of applause because we just raised a lot of money right there. Hey, we've got 2 giving levels left here tonight. And if you haven't had the chance to give yet, I want to encourage you to want you to leave here invested tonight. And so at the $250 level, I want to tell you where your money's going to go and what it can do. More than 21,000, listen to this, it's got that word in there again. More than 21,000 children in Georgia witness family violence every year. Your $250 donation will provide a day of children's programming at our Safe House, helping kids heal from abuse and form more healthy relationships. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know these children, they go through very, very hard times, scary times. And what we're going to do at the Resource Center is not forget about them. We've got programs designed to help them get through these things and help them get back on the right path and introduce them to new friends. So your $250 donation here tonight is going to help them get back on that path. So who's going to be my first donation at $250? Let's do it. Watch this. $328. Thank you, sir. Hey, my man right down here, he ain't got a bidder card, but he's going to give. Bidder number 123. Thank you, ma'am. Bidder number 388. Bidder 671. Bidder number 545. Bidder number 433. We've got another one right here. She wants to give, but she doesn't have a card. Bidder number 380. Bidder 414. 477. Don't y'all quit clapping yet. We're just getting started here tonight. Listen, we've got another gentleman that doesn't have a card. We got about $10,000 donations and no cards, so y'all be sure and get to the checkout desk. 429 gives $250. This middle section, they're going to do it again. Look at bidder number 177, bidder number 383, bidder number 539, bidder number 160, bidder number 111, bidder number 186, 560, bidder number 611. Look at these pretty ladies. 240 and 139 both give $250. 317, 411, 223. Y'all don't quit clapping yet. 419, 423, 595. Is there anybody else here tonight at $250? If not, thank you so much. Bidder number 593 gives $250. Hey, let's make some noise in here tonight. I absolutely love it. We've got one giving level left. And if you can't guess, it's the $100 giving level. At $100, you probably know domestic violence cases have risen during the COVID-19 pandemic. Your financial support ensures that our doors remain open and we continue to work towards our mission of creating a society in which domestic violence no longer exists. So, ladies and gentlemen, this giving level here tonight, you've seen the impact that the Resource Center has made. This is simply keeping the doors open. There's cost to keep this this organization going. And to do that, we need you here tonight. Some of you have already stepped up at other giving levels, and I want to encourage you tonight. Maybe you've already given, and that's okay. But I want each and every one of you to be able to leave here tonight, like I said, and feel invested. So I'm going to start on this side of the room at $100. I'm going to make my way that way. And I want to have to call out every number in this place. So if you want to give $100 here tonight, simply lift your card up in the air, and we're going to get started. Who's going to be my first donation at $100? Bidder number 625. Bidder number 472. Bidder number 419. Bidder number 443. Bidder number 572. All give $100. Anybody else? Look right over here. Bidder number 119. Bidder number 313. Bidder number 178. Bidder number 572. All give $100. Is there anybody else here tonight at the $100 level? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've told you once, and I'm going to tell you again. I want the biggest round of applause we've had here tonight, because that's going to round out our paddle raise portion of the evening. You guys are absolutely amazing. Who's ready to have a live auction here tonight? Y'all ready to have a little fun? Well, like they said earlier, my name's Tanner Roberts, and I'm from Mayfield, Kentucky. And if there's one thing that I love, it's a live auction. And so, before we get our live auction started, I want to remind you that we do have some people that are watching and with us from home tonight. So I want to welcome all of our people that are online, and we hope that you've been making donations with us, and we thank you for doing that. So just so you know, they're going to be a part of our live auction as well, and they're going to have the option to bid. But to all my people online, I want to make one announcement. 2022 is incredible. You can bid right there from your home, but you're on about a 15-second delay. So before each, so y'all may have a little bit of an advantage in here, but not all the way. So the reason I tell you that, everyone visiting us from home, we're glad you're here, but at the beginning of each of our live auction here tonight, each item, we're going to play a video on the screen. Now, each video has some very, very important details about each of our live auction packages, so be sure and pay attention. But what I was going to tell our people online, while that video is playing, I encourage you to put your highest and your best bid in because, like I said, there's a 15-second delay. So get your highest and best bid in early because I'm looking at the faces on some of these people in the crowd, and I think some of them want to go to Portugal, and I think some of them want to get an outdoor package. So you better get your bids in early and often. So before we start our live auction, I always say I've got 3 rules of engagement for our live auction. Our first rule of engagement is there are no friends at an auction. So you may be sitting by your best friend, but right now, me and you are only friends. Me and you. It's Derby week. I'm from Kentucky, so I like to say put your blinders on and act like you can't see anybody but me and you, and we can get along just fine. The second rule is, I see some of you making your way back to the bar. That's okay. But if you drink too much or fall asleep during my live auction, you may wake up and have bought a trip to Portugal, or you may have bought something else. So don't drink too much or fall asleep. And last and most importantly, you've already done a great job doing it tonight, but every time I say the word sold, S-O-L-D, I want a big round of applause because that's more money going back to why we're here tonight. So I want to practice real quick, and then when the applause stops, we're going to start the first live auction item video. Sold. Tell us about live auction item number 1.
Hi, I'm Natasha Trethewey, and my new book is Memorial Drive. This is an excerpt. 3 weeks after my mother is dead, I dream of her. We walk a rutted path, an oval track around which we are making our slow revolution. Side by side, so close our shoulders nearly touch, neither of us speaking, both of us in our traces. Though I know she is dead, I have a sense of contentment, as if she's only gone someplace else to which I've journeyed to meet her.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, you've already heard from Natasha tonight. You know she has an incredible story. But maybe you have a book club, and you want to spice it up a little bit. You want to be the talk of the town, and you can have an amazing lady come to your book club. So if you could bring the lights down a little bit, I don't want to miss a bid in this room. And also, if you could put on the screen all of our bids that we already have online from our people at home. I don't want to miss their bids either. So you see right there on package number 100, we've already got a starting bid of $1,750. So if you came here tonight to buy this package for $500, I have some bad news. You're not going to get it. So I've got $1,750. Who wants to give me $2,000? Have it a bit $2,000. Have it a bit 2,000 bid. $2,500. Have it a bit 20 bid. Have it a bit 20 bid. 25. Have it a bit 2,000 bid. Who wants to give me $2,500 for the book club of a lifetime? $2,500. Have it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 20 can buy it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 25. Did you bid, sir? Sir, that was almost the most expensive handshake you've ever had. $2,500. Have it a bit 2,500. Have it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 2,500. Have it a bit 25. I got 2,000 right here. Takes 2,500. Have it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 20 by 25. I'll do 2,250 before I go. 2,250. Have it a bit 2,250. Have it a bit 2,250. Have it a bit 2,250. Give them plenty of time online. 2,250. Have it a bit 2,250 going once. Have it a bit 2,250 going twice. 2,250. Oh, ma'am, I hope you don't miss heaven that close. $2,250's bid, and now 25. At 25's bid, now $2,750. 2750. Would you do 26 and I'll make her be 27? 2,600. 26 bid, now 27. 27. Ma'am. Now you loved it for 25. How could you hate it for 27? You had it the whole time. I could see you right there being the talk of the town. Are you sure? 2,700. 27. 2,700. Going once. 2,700. Going twice. 27. Third and final time and a half. I love you already. 27's bid. And now 28. You done scared her off. 27, 28, 28, 28. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Sold, sold, sold. $2,700. Bidder number 259. I told you we were going to have fun here tonight. If you could, tell us about live auction item number 101. Oh, well, you know summertime's coming. And if you love to grill, if you love to be outdoors, well, this package is for you. There's nothing that cooks a steak better than a big green egg. Trust me, I've got one and I can attest to it. There is nothing better. You're going to get the big green egg. You're going to get a box of steaks. You're going to get a variety box of smoking chunks, everything else they've mentioned right there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you love to be outdoors, now's the time. If you could put on the screen, let's see what we got drummed up from back there online, and we can know where to start the bidding. That's our silent auction. Please don't forget to check that out either. But right here on this package, I got $1,500. Who wants to give me $2,000? $2,000. $2,000. Got $1,500 online. Takes $2,000. Gentlemen, if you love the grill, now's your time. $2,000. Got $1,500. I'll take $1,700 before I go. $1,700. Thank you. Now $2,000. Internet, you're out. Takes $2,000. $2,000. $2,000. $2,000 on him. $2,000. $2,000 on him. But there, I got 17 in the back. Takes $2,000. $2,000. Internet, I'm going to give you one last chance. Takes $2,000. 2,000's bid. Are y'all not having fun? Let's make some noise. 2,000's bid. 2,200. Happy to bid 22 and 2. Happy to bid 22 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 22's bid. And now 25. Happy to bid 25, 25 to bid. Ma'am, you had it for a minute. 25. Happy to bid 25, 25 to bid 25, 25 to bid 2,500. Who wants to give me 20? Who thinks she should bid 2,500? 2,500. 2,500. 25 to bid 25 to bid 2,500. Happy to bid 25, 25 to bid 25, 25 to bid 25. Going once. 2,500 going twice. 2,500 third and final time. And I have. Put your hands together. Sold, sold, sold. 2,200. What's that bidder number, my friend? Bidder number is 492. And if you don't care, tell us about live auction item number 102. we go. 6-night private stay. Hey, it's only 3 hours from Atlanta, so you don't even have to get on an airplane to go. But if you're talking about privacy, just need to get away for a minute, now's the time. Online, how much do we have? Go back to the online, and right now online we've got $2,600. I'll take $3,000. Have it a bit $3,000 on them and debit a bit $2,600. Now $3,000. Have it a bit $3,000. Have it a bit $3,300. Have it a bit $3,000. Have it a bit $3,000's bid. And now $3,200. Have it a bit $32. Have it a bit $32. But a bit $32's bid. And now $35, sir. Have it a bit $35. Have it a bit $35's bid. And now $4,000. Yeah, $4,000. Up a bit $4,000. Up a bit 4 and 4. Hey, would you give me $4,000? I got 35 right back there. It takes $4,000. Yeah, $4,000. Up a bit 4. But a bit 4. 4,000. A 6-night private stay, newly renovated. All I'm asking for is $4,000. Yeah, $4,000 on a bit 4,000. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you be $3,700 and make her be $4,000. Would you do that? 37's bid. And now $4,000, ma'am. $4,000. Have it a bit 4. The light's right in my eyes. I can't even tell if you're telling me no. $4,000. Have it a bit $4,000. Would you do 3,800? 38's bid. And now 39. Ma'am, it's like checkers. It's your turn. 3,900. 39's bid. Just give me $4,000. $4,000. 4,000. They told me if it didn't bring $4,000, I couldn't come back next year, and I'd love to come back next year. Would you just give me $4,000? I won't ask you again. $4,000. Yeah, $4,000 down. 4,000's bid. And now 41. 41. Have it a bit 41, 40, pump it a bit 41, 40, pump it a bit 41. Going once. 41, going twice. Oh! We got a new player. 4,100. Now you're both out. Now, I told her I wouldn't ask her again, so her friend's right back there. Will you ask her for me if she'll do 4,200? 4,200. 4,200. Have it a bit 42, but a bit 42, but a bit 42, but a bit 4,200 going once. 4,200 going twice. 4,200 third and final time, and I have sold. 4,100. What's that bidder number? 411. The one bid wonder won it right there. Tell us about live auction item number 103. I promise you, you don't want to miss this one. Oh, if you're looking for an adult getaway, let's talk about live auction item number 103. 6 nights in a lovely 2.5 bedroom. 2 bedroom, 2.5 bath. Ladies and gentlemen, no children under the age of 8, maximum of 4 guests. So, anytime you have 4 guests, figure it's you and one other couple. You can both split this trip right down the middle, so group bidding is encouraged. So if you don't want to spend all the money, you can split it with your neighbor. So right now on live auction item number 103, we've got $2,000. Who wants to give me $2,500? Have it a bit 20 by 25. Have it a bit 20 by 20. Where else can you go for 6 nights for $2,500? Have it a bit 25 by the mayor. Have it a bit 20. 25's bid. Thank you. Now $3,000. Have it a bit $3,000. Internet, you're out, and so is everybody else out here. It takes $3,000. Have it a bit 3, but a bit 3. $3,000. Have it a bit $3,000. Have it a bit 3. I got $2,500. I'll do $2,700. 27. Have it a bit 27. Have it a bit 27. 7. 27. 27. 27. Have it a bit $2,700. $2,700. Happy to bid $2,700. Happy to bid $2,700. Happy to bid $27,700. 27. I got 27. 27's right over here. It takes 25's right over here. It takes 27. 27. Happy to bid 27,777. 2,700. Happy to bid 2,700. Going once. Happy to bid 2,700. Going twice. 2,700. Third and final time. And I have. Put your hands together. Sold, sold, sold. 2,500. Bidder number 157. 157. Well, folks, we've came to our last live auction item here tonight. And when I say we've saved the best for last, I truly mean it. Tell us about live auction item number 104. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the best has been saved for last. This trip is rare because if you don't like the beach, you're not going to be on the beach the whole time. You've got private tours, you've got amazing award-winning food, and you've got up to 5 years to use this package. After 3 years, they can only promise some of the content, so I'd use it within 3 years, but you have 5 years to use it. And additional people can be added. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go to Portugal, I got $3,750 online. It takes $4,000. $4,000. $4,000. $4,000's bid. And now $4,250. $4,250. $4,250's bid. Now $45. $45. $4,500. $45. $45. $4,500, ma'am. $4,500. $45. If y'all split it right down the middle, that's pennies on the dollar. $4,500. $45. $45's bid. And now $4,750, ma'am. And now $5,000. Now we're having an auction, $5,000. Here, $5,000 on him, a trip of a lifetime for $5,000. Here, $5,000 on him, $5,000 and $5. Here, $5,000. Look, the camera ladies right here. You hold your card up, we'll get a picture. Look here, $5,000's bid. And now $5,250. Here, $5,250. $5,250's bid. And now $55. We almost had it. I can see you on the beaches there now, just smiling, enjoying the weather. You're going to go home and say, why didn't I give $5,500? $55. $5,500 out of it. $5,500. Remember why we're here. $5,500. $55 here. We're raising money. $5,500. Would you do $5,300? $5,300. Habit a bit 53. Habit a bit 53. Habit a bit 53 and 53. Going once. $5,300. Going twice. $5,300. Third and final time. And I have sold. $5,250. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to pull the curtain down for me and our fundraising portion of the evening. I do want to remind you, we are having an online auction here tonight, and if you haven't seen it on the screen, we have some incredible some silent auction packages on there. So if you're looking for a summer vacation destination, right here tonight, you can do the best of both worlds. You can give back to this incredible organization and also get a trip of a lifetime. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Tanner Roberts. It's been an absolute pleasure from Mayfield, Kentucky. Thank you so much, and enjoy your night.
Here we are.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
That's not the closing. I guess we'll just share.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. All right. So, wow. Thank you so much to everyone who dug deep in your pockets tonight, and gave generously this evening. Thank you, every single person in here who gave tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. We are so grateful to each and every one of you, and there is still more you can do. I'm not going to ask for any more money, but if you are interested in volunteering, hosting us at your church or synagogue, your mosque, we would be ever so grateful for your continued involvement and support.
And we definitely would like you to help spread the word about Women's Resource Center. So for anyone here this evening, if this is the first time that you've become aware of this organization, we absolutely hope that you will spread the word to your friends, to your family members, to your coworkers about the amazing work that's being done here. And speaking of spreading the word about the Women's Resource Center, we have an amazing announcement for all of you all before you leave. We're finally able to announce that the Women's Resource Center will be the charity recipient of all of the funds raised through the Cathedral at St. Philip's Giving by Design fundraiser in 2023.
Yes. And we have a couple of members here from the Cathedral Giving by Design planning team tonight. If you are with Cathedral Giving by Design, please stand up. I know we have Andy O'Brien and Julie Reef. Thank you so much. We are so excited to partner with you.
And we're going to ask that you make sure to follow the Women's Resource Center on all of your socials, because we will be sharing more about that event as well as all of the amazing work that's being done by the Women's Resource Center and the money, your funds that you've donated tonight. If you follow us on social, you will begin to see all of the amazing work that's being done and what your funds, supported.
Yes. And thanks to our viewers at home as well. You made this another amazing Champions for Change. Thanks again, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Oh, my God.